I've scripted a video about why China loves Terminator Genisys so much. At least why I think so.
Oh, duh.
But whether
Why?
whether I make it or not, I don't know. I've got a lot of my plate.
It's Arnold. It's Arnold. It's explosions. It's excitement.
Mm-hmm.
China doesn't care about writing.
Even though it seemed impossible, it looks like the Terminator franchise might be back. Terminator Genisys almost killed the Machines Killing Humans franchise once again by earning so poorly in the States, but then Chinese audiences stepped in to make it one of the country's best openers of all time.
Now you're saying, like, you got a $155 million movie that's now crossed that threshold of what they needed to be profitable with about $350 million. They needed to cross that $300 million mark to be profitable after P&A and theater cuts and stuff like that. But they did it now. This is now a profitable movie.
Yeah, but you know what else?
Furious 7.
China, at the time the first two Terminator movies came out, China wasn't open yet. So no one ever saw it. And that means a lot. You think about it. If they're going to see Terminator Genisys, but they don't have the nostalgia connected to the first two movies, then they're in a unique position where they can just see the movie with fresh eyes, and they don't compare it to anything. So they go in with a purely objective viewpoint because they never saw the other movies when they came out.
How do Arnold movies do over there, though? Like, how did a movie like I don't know what came out? True Lies.
I don't know. I tried to figure out exactly when like American movies started coming out in China. It's really hard to figure out exactly when. I think it's been a slow process, but Arnie's always been more popular overseas.
it's a summer blockbuster. You know, like movies like that do. And to be fair, Terminator Genisys didn't do like awesome in China. It didn't do like Furious 7 money. It didn't do like Age of Extinction money. Like it didn't
It's the fourth most popular movie in that country ever.
Well, how much?
It broke
is
box
that?
office records all across the country.
But how much money is that in dollars?
I don't know. I'm not a bloody accountant, okay?
Oh.
And analysts are bullish that those Chinese box office dollars will keep on flowing to Hollywood, regardless of the country's stock market and currency fluctuations.
But the thing is, like, China, looking at that situation of why a movie like that can be so hated in America but so loved in China, it's because I think this is basically what I wrote. There was no nostalgia connect to it because they didn't get to see the first two movies when they came out. And B, the internet over there is not like the internet here. Like, Google has been kicked out of China because the government restricts the internet more. So part of that meant they were sort of insulated from all the online hate.
Right.
So I think it's interesting because like China's kind of like an experiment of like, if you want to see if people view a movie differently, if they're not exposed to the online hate or they don't have any nostalgia attached, absolutely they do. It's a difference between a huge bomb in China and breaking box office records.
I don't necessarily think it's that Terminator Genisys received internet hate.
Are you
as much
kidding
as it
me?
Was more,
Are you kidding me? It was one of the most hated movies of the year.
No, I mean before it got released.
Oh
like
no! From day one, people were so negative about it.
That first trailer, I felt more like a brand of skepticism, or a more brand of, well, I don't know, kind of more than
people
like,
were hating on it from the
worst
very
movie
beginning.
yet. Listen, every movie before it comes out receives someone that says it's going to be the worst movie ever.
Yeah.
The main thing I got, especially when that first trailer came out, was, I don't know, it looks cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, but here's the thing, is like, man, we always keep going back to Terminator Genisys.
I'm telling you, we got to do that commentary so we can get this over with.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I will make that video because I think it's an interesting topic. But it's like, here's the thing: if it doesn't get a sequel made, which it might not, they're still deciding whether they will. It won't be because it didn't make enough money, because it did. That's proven. It won't be because there isn't a demand out there for it, because there is, not in America, but international audiences and in China there is. So if it doesn't get a sequel made, it's not because it didn't make money, it's not because people don't want to see it, it's just because of the online hate. And I think that's a really bad idea.
It'll make less.
Sorry?
It'll make less than the last one. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, if you were like the president of Universal, this would be my pitch to you, right? Mm-hmm. I'd come in and I'd say to you, okay, it didn't do very well here, but it did really well in China. Okay? China, biggest country in the world. The movie business there is booming. They're actually set to overtake American audiences by 2017. So we have a potential here to create a very large fan base in one of the biggest markets, what will soon be the biggest market in the whole world when it comes to movies. Why do we not want to do that? The potential returns in the long run are staggering. So why should we not take?
You want to film a Chinese movie in America?
No.
Is that what you're telling me? I'm speaking from a studio standpoint. You want to film a movie meant for Chinese people in America? You want to waste American dollars and make a movie for China?
No, we want to make a movie for...
Because Michael Bay did that last year, and we all know how that turned out. Granted, it made $1 billion.
Exactly.
So from a studio standpoint, yeah, but...
So you're a president of a studio that doesn't care about money? That's strange.
Okay, I'm asking you...
Do you not want to make money? This is like...
Yes,
Wolf of Wall
as
Street.
a studio head, that's a great idea. But I'm asking you, as a film fan, as someone who should not want to encourage this kind of behavior, you want to see somebody sit there and make a movie clearly just marketed in this blatantly brown-nosing the Chinese market. Huh?
What's wrong with appealing to international audiences? Is there something wrong
there's appealing
with
and
a
there's
movie
pandering.
being
There's
popular
a,
in a country other than America? What's wrong with that?
Well, yeah. Well, there's appealing and then there's pandering. We saw what happened in Michael Bay's Transformers Age of Extinction, in which the entire third act was set in China, and it was very Chinese-based, and to where I really couldn't connect. I'm like, well, what's going on here?
Okay, so on the one hand, you think it should do everything it can to appeal to American audiences, while on the other hand, you say that American audiences aren't going to see it anyway.
Which is why it needs to die.
No,
exactly my
but
point.
Here's the thing. If American audiences aren't going to see it, like you say, then why should you care what they think? Appeal to the Chinese audiences.
Because you can make...
Appeal to the people who are going to see it.
Because you can make good movies. Like, China... Think about it. China is not one that's going to go out and clamor towards the big, good movies. Like, a good movie... China, you clearly, from looking at it in the same way that a studio will look at what an audience says through their wallets, looking at it from a financial standpoint, China does not care if a movie is good or not. We've seen from Transformers and Expendables and Terminator that Americans do care, are starting to get more conscious with good movies making money. And, look at Guardians or Winter Soldier or the Avengers movies. Big budget movies meant for worldwide audiences that made a lot of money. China does not seem to have that kind of sensibility. So if you were to market towards the Chinese market, or pander towards the Chinese market, we wouldn't get a good movie. We'd get a movie meant for the Chinese market. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, it's kind of racist to say that Chinese is too stupid to enjoy good movies.
I didn't say that.
That's basically what you're saying. Come on. You're basically saying, they only like it because they're not as smart as us.
From the paying standpoint. I'm saying from paying standpoint, specifically not on the people of China themselves. I'm not from Chinese citizens themselves. I'm saying from what they have paid to see. We have seen that they are not one to focus on the quality of a movie, but how it looks. And that means it's kind of like how my dad watches movies. My dad doesn't give a rat's tush about good characters or good writing. Otherwise, he'd love Inception, but he hates Inception. So what does he do? He likes Transformers movies. He likes the Expendables. He likes those kind of movies. And I don't want people to make crappy movies, man. I don't
think that it's just because they only care about how a movie looks. I think it's got more to do with the language barrier and that action movies do better overseas because there's usually less complicated stories, so the translation
and they're usually crap.
But it's easier to follow because they don't have to read subtitles the whole time. So I don't think it's that they're dumber than Americans, or that they don't want good movies, or they don't want different movies. I think it's just because of the language barrier. That's why action movies do better.
I don't think they're dumber. First of all, let's get something straight. I don't think Chinese people are stupid. That could be the title of the episode. I don't think Chinese people are stupid. I don't think they are because they're clearly outgrossing us. And I've seen. Yeah. I don't want to get into the whole Asian.
China has their own cinema, which is almost as old as Hollywood.
And it's making them a lot of money. So I'm just saying, studios are not going to try as hard if they're making movies that are pandering towards the Chinese market. You have to make a good movie before you can start making money again. And that just means you are digging this Terminator franchise deeper and deeper into a deeper grave. And I just
a deeper grave
I'm
being,
subsiding.
having a fan base in the largest market in the world, which will be that's
with
in a
crappy
grave.
movies, with bad movies. With bad movies.
Well, that's the thing, because that's why I find China so interesting. They went in with a totally objective mind and viewed it as its own thing, whereas American audiences were poisoned by nostalgia, poisoned by the internet. China wasn't.
I wasn't poisoned by nostalgia.
Yeah, you were.
I saw Salvation before I saw Genisys, and I think Salvation is better than Genisys, which is not a good comparison because the first two movies are good. It's not nostalgia, it's quality of movies. You know?
Okay, well, all right, well... Okay, quality of movies, totally subjective, all right? But let me just ask you this. Are you okay with a movie being sunk by a very small and vocal minority? Are you okay with that? Because I personally, like I said, if the sequel doesn't get made, it's not because it didn't make money, it's not because there's not an audience, it's because of mostly the people online, which compared to the overall movie-going audience are a very small minority, but very vocal. And I think movies should either be made or not be made based off what the general movie-going public wants, not what a very small minority of loudmouths online want.
Oh,
which is exactly what's going to happen if the sequel doesn't get made.
You're a bloody communist. You're a bloody communist.
When it comes to this, yes, I am.
Careful.
Yeah.
They'll hunt you down.
Now that we've all had time to calm down from the amazingly awesome-packed awesomeness that was the latest Star Wars trailer, allow me to talk about the one thing that I'm actually kind of worried about. There seems to be a lot of evidence to suggest that this movie will have a new Death Star in it, and I do not want to see that.